Have you ever bought a machine out of your heart's desire with great intentions to revive said machine, but yet sometimes just having the machine is almost enough to keep your heart content, but the want to ride and enjoy the machine maybe just doesn't supersede the want to fix the machine enough, or maybe it's time that's an issue, and you have 4 kids and a wife that your life doesn't allow enough time for things like building an old school grandfather banshee to go enjoy? Well, that's kinda how I got here today. I purchased this incredible 1973 Yamaha RD350, which is easily one of my top 10 favorite vintage motorcycles, and it's been here for quite a while. 2 years to be exact. And when I purchased it, I had every intention on making this thing a gorgeous cafe racer just to go cruise around and enjoy life. But many other things kind of got in the way, and that brings me to today, where I will be trading this 1973 Yamaha RD350 for a incredible Yamaha Raptor 660 with a Triumph triple speed 1050 swapped into it. Yeah, that's right. Now I feel better. Oh yeah, by the way, anybody interested in 4 kids and a wife? Good deal. Good morning. Welcome back, Stupid Fast Nation. Hope y'all are having a killer weekend. I am super excited. I am on my way currently to my weekend morning class. I actually do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo for the last 15 years of my life. Not important. I don't normally share a lot of personal details on social media like this, unless it's like on my personal page. But anyways, not to like drown you guys out with details, but I'm so proud that I got my professor stripes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think a couple months ago already. But anyways, I'm on my way to class. I've got the RD350 loaded up on the back of the trailer currently, and then after class I'm gonna head down to Kutztown, Pennsylvania, and we're gonna trade this thing for something really cool. So stick around, let's see what we got brewing up in the old head today, yeah? Alright, just left class. And we're heading down to Kutztown. There's a Giant, and we're going to meet there. This thing's pretty cool. I'm actually super stoked. If you guys remember, this RD350 I've had for like 2 or 3 years, I think. And then this is actually a cool little trade-up series, because really, the Suzuki TE100 I traded for this. I think I got that for like 150, 200 bucks. I traded that straight up for this RD350. And now we're trading this for a crotch rocket swapped Raptor 660. I'm super stoked. We'll check it out once we get there. Let's get it. All right, guys, and before we get back to work, we have to take a quick break for today's video sponsor, Flexi Mounts. Guys, I've been trying to work really hard in the background on bringing you guys some amazing products here on the channel. I've been trying to get away from the low quality stuff and get into some higher quality stuff that you guys might actually be interested in. This is one thing I thought all my garage DIYers would definitely want to get their hands on something like this. This is a garage rack storage system from Flexi Mounts. I'm going to take a second, describe that to you, get this unboxed, and then we're going to check it out and see it in action and see if it's actually worth what they say it is. Let's get it going. Flexi Mounts is a US company dedicated to providing effortless storage and organization solutions for garage and home. Their products are highly rated on Amazon, with their classic garage racks being the best sellers, trusted by so many for their quality and innovation. That is exactly why I brought Flexi Mounts to the channel today, for you guys and gals to check out one of the many awesome products they offer. One extra thing I'd like to point out is that this exact system is designed to hold up to 300 pounds, which is quite incredible. All right, guys, so I took a few moments and got this entire system installed. It really is not hard to do at all, and thankfully it fit within the space requirements that I needed, because this was literally the only place in the entire shop that I could install something like this. I was going to put it over on that wall, but I have a huge mess of parts over there that I'm not ready to organize and clean yet. And also that wall, I really wanted to put my dyno screen up over there. So anyways, but the system turned out great. I actually really like this a lot. It's super easy to install. It comes with a template. The instructions are easy to read, even though I don't like instructions because I'm like every other man and I'm just quick and easy and do it myself. But I did use the instructions, and I must say, I am pretty happy with this. I threw some tires and a seat on it real fast because I wanted you guys to see kind of how it works with a little bit of weight on it. Very simple to use. It has a locking mechanism. This would be really good for a actual car garage. You could park your mower underneath of this thing or put a whole bunch of shelves or other stuff under it, because this will take it all the way up to the ceiling. Dude, that is so cool. How could you not want one of these in your garage? Look at this. I'm 6'3", guys. Just keep that in mind. I'm 6'3". I think I have this set to 7.5 feet to the bottom of the board because I wanted both underneath and above to have 7.5 feet for my big head to be able to get through. So look at that, and my head goes under it, no problem in here. This is perfect. I could put tires, rims, plastics, boxes of stuff if I want to store stuff up here. I mean, just think about it. The options are endless with the storage of this thing. So if you are interested, please check my top comment and description below. Let's get back to building. Oh. How's it going, man?
Good,
I guess before I turn this thing on, I should ask if you're okay being filmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I'm John. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
What's your name?
Carter.
Carter. Dude, I gotta say, man, this thing really caught my eye. Did you build this?
I did, yeah.
Dude, it's the reason. So like the thing, I'll back up so I get you in the frame here. But the thing is, like, I normally stay away from stuff like this. I usually just build them myself. But this one looked like it was done pretty well. That's why I was like, the plastics were shaped nice around the motor. It looked like the position was real nice. I saw the tank in the back and stuff, and I was like, actually, and these motors sound really freaking wild, dude.
Yeah,
the
awesome.
Triumph Triple, dude. Oh my God. So like when I saw it, I was like, I wonder if he's up for a trade for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was perfect because I was literally gonna sell this, and I was looking at either an RD or one of the Kawasaki triples, 2-stroke.
Oh, the H2s, yeah, they're so much more expensive than the RDs.
Yeah. So yeah, when you said you had one, it was perfect.
Dude, the classic bikes are the best, honest to God.
Love them.
So before I talk about that clunker over there, tell me about this beautiful machine here. What's the what even generated this idea?
So yeah, actually, I bought a speed triple same year from an auction site, wrecked, and then found a parts bike on Facebook with all the stuff I needed to rebuild mine.
Yep.
He said the motor was junk, hadn't ran in years.
At least he was honest.
Yeah, and
Can't
so
ask
I
for
got
more than that.
for a deal. Took all the parts that I needed off of it, and then just like looking, found some janky wiring. Fuel pump wasn't kicking on. Hooked
Simple
some
stuff.
wires together, fired right up.
Dude, that's the stuff you want, because most people are like, oh, I don't know how to fix it, and then we get it like that.
Yeah, and then so I just had the motor sitting around and played around with a couple ideas, but ended on putting it in the quad. So
Dude, it's so cool. Let me just get a quick walk around. Did you do the tank welding and all that, or did you outsource for
It
it?
was a prefab tank.
Okay. Not bad, dude.
Yeah.
So it's like an eBay deal or Amazon deal?
The tank?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an eBay.
Yeah, dude, this isn't bad at all.
Yeah.
Dude, a lot of times these things are janky. This one is not bad. Oh, you kept the oil cooler up here.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
cooler.
because they're not liquid cool. Oh, yeah, they are. There's a radiator.
Yeah,
They
I
are.
kept the stock radiator. I haven't had any problems with it overheating. So
That'll be all right. If so, I'm the guy to fix it. So
yeah.
I don't mind. Listen, I'm not a picky guy. I'm a really easygoing guy. I'm not that guy to bitch about stuff. And I know the game. I've been doing this for a long time. You know what I mean? So
Awesome.
yeah, man, let's get them down. The RD, I've had that one for upwards of 3 years.
Okay.
I got this one on a trade deal. Real quick side story. So I had I think it was like a 70s Suzuki TE100, which is a little smaller than these. It was in really nice shape. I got the thing for like $200. It didn't run. I changed the spark plug, fired right up. You couldn't ask for a better deal, just like your motor. You know what I mean? So then I was just, combing marketplace, because this is what we do. We do flipping and trading and all. We love doing stuff like that every day. So then I found a guy. He was like, I love the Suzuki T100. I had the ad up on marketplace. He hit me up and was like, you have any interest in something like this? And I was like, yeah, dude, I want that. This is a grandfather Banshee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My plan was to restore it, but I take forever to restore stuff. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I have 50, 60 machines. It's insane how much stuff I have. But yeah, I mean, I left everything alone. I didn't touch anything. I borrowed the two header tube. Well, I took the 2 header tubes, like I was telling you. I did this kids quad. I did an RD 350 swapped kids quad.
Okay.
And then I took those and made them with a DG exhaust and stuff like that. But yeah, I left the bird's nest in it. I just thought it would be a cool story to.
Yeah, look at that.
I usually don't clean that stuff out until I turn the camera on. You know what I mean? Because I want everybody to see it, to see what actually I deal with.
Right.
But I mean, dude, it's pretty much all here. It just needs your love and time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The keys even in it.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
I love these bikes. Like I said, I have a ton of parts, frames, motors, all kind. I have enough to build a whole other bike. So I think I'm gonna do like a cafe racer.
Yeah.
Like I wanted the original one to put with my collection, but I'll get another one later. And I really want to get some of the H2s. Yeah. I had one and I should have never sold it, dude.
Yeah,
before they were like huge.
Right.
Like 20 years ago I had one. I was like 23 or not 20. It's been like 15 years ago.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna turn 37 this year. But yeah, man, they're freaking great bikes. Yeah. These wheelie all day, man. I've read so much.
They're so small. They're so compact.
Yep, and they're incredibly fast, just like Banshees, you know.
Yeah.
So I won't hold you up too long, guys. We'll get these things unloaded, loaded up. We'll get it back to the shop. Now you said this one you think is starter or battery, right?
I'm pretty sure it's starter.
As long as it rolls over, that's
box on it, and it just cranks really slow.
Okay. It could be corrosion or a small wire, something like that too. You know what I mean? So I ain't worried about it. But regardless, I appreciate you coming out here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Let's get her done, guys. All right, guys, welcome back. We finally got this beautiful gem back to the shop. Forgive me if I am feeling a little under the weather today. I don't know, I woke up with something. One of my kids got me sick. So unfortunately, I've got to work through this pain and suffering like everybody else does. But today, I don't care because I'm so super stoked about getting this thing running and riding. And that's what the focus of today's video is. When I saw this thing on Marketplace, I was a little skeptical because generally the things we see on Marketplace that are crotch rocket swapped or just swapped in general, they're done by backyard mechanics, which can mean things may not be suitable or up to any type of standard. And basically what I mean is sometimes when I come across stuff on Marketplace, it's like bubblegum welds slapped together, holding it together with like duct tape and rubber bands, you know what I mean? And so I wasn't looking for something like this. I wasn't looking for anything, honestly. I just happened to come across it on Facebook Marketplace and I was like, wow, those 3-cylinder motors sound incredible and it's stuffed in the perfect chassis, and I could tell right off the bat that some of the fabrication and design that went into creating this 1050cc swapped Triumph Raptor 660, some of the fabrication is actually decent on it, you know, like I can't, I mean, I can nitpick things obviously, but that's not my general nature. I think he did a great job. He literally made it work with what he had, and I highly, highly respect that. So with that being said, Carter does have his own YouTube channel. I believe it's called Bigger Than Bikes. Don't kill me if that's not it, but I'm gonna show you guys right here anyways. I'll put up a cool little clip of going through his YouTube page. Go check him out. He does some really cool cafe racer bikes and other bikes kind of like that. And his goal is to support a foundation, or sorry, not a foundation, a charity, if you will. And he wants to make these bikes to help charities out, I think. I think that's the main purpose. It says it in the page. I didn't clarify it with him, so I hope that's actually his purpose. But I thought that would be so cool because, you know, we are also with the Raptor 660 back there trying to also do something a little similar with, you know, more of a contest, but also creating a charity would be awesome. I would love to do a charity called Quads for Kids. That's literally been a dream of mine for years. I've been thinking about it for so long. But anyways, I might as well update you on the Raptor 660 while we're talking about it. She's in the background there. You can see I haven't touched her yet. I'm waiting on a response from my legal team. And after that, we will get started moving forward with the Raptor 660. I have a P.O. box as of today. I'm hoping that I can list the address in the description below as I'm speaking about it and in my top comment. And I will also start a GoFundMe. All of that information will be in the description and in my top comment of the video. So if you guys are interested in sending parts, et cetera, for that thing, or if you just want to help chip in, I will show you guys the entire process. You guys know me, I'm super detailed. I can't help but show you the entire process. I will show you where the money's being put, the parts are being put, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you guys are interested in helping out with that charitable cause, definitely check those things out. Shopify store is up and running. Go check that out. I've been listing more machines each week. Bunch of you guys have been hitting me up with some amazing trades, but I've been a little down on my petty cash lately, so I'm working on selling some stuff for cash. But don't be afraid to hit me with what you got, because I don't bite, man. I'm just telling you like it is, at least to you guys. The rest of society can get bitten, but you guys not. So with that being said, the other thing I want to update you guys on is the YFZ 1000R. We are literally coming into the final stages with the YFZ 1000R. The powder coat is looking incredible. Guys, I cannot tell you how proud I am of this build. What we have started with originally to where we are at now is tons of progression, and I love it, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. So definitely stay tuned for the YFZ 1000R. Okay, guys, I'm done talking about all of the stuff in here in the shop. Actually, no, I'm not, because next week I was in the middle of doing this LT250R, and then I came across this, and I was like, because I could have had that done in like a day or two, and then, but I found this Raptor 660, and I was like, I kind of want to do street bike swap stuff a little bit here and there. So I was like, this would be a cool interim project. So with that being said, the next project will probably be the LT250R, and then we will go to crotch rocket swap dirt bike. Most likely before we get done with the YFZ 1000, because I'm having some custom pieces made for that. And then that way, that thing will be phenomenal when it is done. That is my condition to myself, is I will not release it until it is what I want it to be, until it meets my standard of the vision. And then we're gonna slap twin turbos on it. Anyways, enough cool factor for one video. Let's get cracking on this Raptor 660 with this Triumph Trump. Let's get cracking on the Triumph triple swapped Raptor 660. Let's get it going, guys. All right, guys, so some of the things I noticed on this, just looking in the marketplace ad, well, number one, the engine is mounted in a very nice strategic type of way. Obviously the sprocket is lined up well, or else the chain would be jumping off like crazy. The engine's in a great position. There's a full exhaust on this thing. It goes all the way out the back. There's also detachment pieces on the frame, just like we did in the YFZ 1000. So we can disconnect this bar and pull the whole engine out if we need to do any type of like service work, or if something blows up, God forbid, and we have to swap the motor out or fix the motor to any degree, we can remove the entire thing and work on it separately. So that is definitely a must when you are putting together a piece of awesome machinery like this, because you need to be able to service it. Even if you're only keeping it for a short time, or you don't want it to end up in the scrap pile. We put a lot of time and energy and effort into these things, go the distance, make it right like this, and then, you know what I mean? Somebody else won't be banging their head off the wall, or you won't be banging your head off the wall. Either way, it's a win-win, But I like it. The plastics are trimmed very nicely. They fit around the engine. It really looks stockish to me. And these motors sound cool. They make a ton of power. He kept the oil cooler on it. It's utilizing a stock Raptor radiator. I think it's stock. Anyways, it looks like it fits in the stock location. Yeah, I'm really happy. It's a Amazon tank on the back, but it works. I heard the fuel pump when you turn the key on, but it doesn't crank over. It's a slow crank, no start. And so I think it's a dead battery, like so dead that it literally won't allow this thing to crank over. Because when you get a bad cell in a battery, a lot of times when you go to crank them over, even with a jump box on it, it will pull so much out of the jump box, everything it's got, and it will still slow crank because that dead cell is robbing you of all the extra current from the jump pack. So I think that's gonna be the first thing we tackle, but I wanna take a look at the fluids. I wanna kind of look this thing over, make sure there's nothing I'm missing on this thing before I go out and risk my life doing 100 miles an hour on this thing. So yeah, let's get cracking on this thing, man. Super excited. We're gonna get this running really fast.
Alright, rippers and ripettes, the first thing we're gonna do is get this thing juicified with the proper battery voltage so we can see what, if any, issues there are and continue down the path to get this thing to run and rip.
That one's loose. The negative terminal's wiggly loose, man. This thinks it's in neutral. Oh! Why'd you stop? This is the battery for the YFZ1000R. Twice the size. Probably has more cranking amps because it's for a 4-cylinder. Maybe we get lucky and it'll work. Got a weird noise. He said it might need a starter, which he very well may be correct. Yep. All right. Well, let's get the starter off, I guess. All right, boys. So as you can see, I was kind of working off camera a little bit with this motor. We can hear a kind of screeching noise, but it does turn over, but it turns over really, really slow. So let me give you guys an ear on the screeching sound first, and then we'll talk about what I think it is, and then we'll get into the rest. Yeah, I know you can hear that. That's pretty bad. You can feel, it feels like something's holding it up. And it sounds like it's coming from down here. Okay, now, let's take the starter cover off real fast, and then we'll get an eye on basically the starter gear. Just a couple of 8mm bolts. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Just as suspected. Everything looks fine. Okay, everything spins free. The gears look great. No issues. Except for that. I don't know if you can see that very well. A little chip out of the one tooth, but I don't think that's an issue. Teeth on the starter look good, and the what I call like a jumper gear that goes between the starter. It's like an idler gear almost. It's a double idler gear, and then that touches the gear that rotates the motor. But I think we need to investigate. Triumph calls it a sprag. If it has any discoloration, it's most likely the culprit of our issue here. And ironically enough, it is a one-way bearing, just like the original Raptor 660. And I don't know if you guys remember the Quad Wars Raptor 686 that we did, but I had tons of issues with the one-way bearing on that. So ironically enough, we're full circle back to dealing with the one-way bearing issue essentially. Sprag, one-way bearing, potato, potato, it's the same thing. So let's get this cover off quick and let's have a look at this thing. Yeah, there we go.
Boom. Oh, yeah. I don't see any rubbing on the case, but you can clearly see the discoloration on the face of this thing. And it is without a doubt a problem, if not the problem. Let's turn it over by hand. I mean, the gear doesn't exactly rotate free either, so. I'd like to take it off and see if, let's get this thing off real quick. Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, so that's your one-way bearing. Oh, I guess we don't need anything to turn it over. Actually, we could just put the bolt back in. I'm gonna be nervous if this thing still makes a noise. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh no, that's not a good sign. All right, well, we're gonna go check the other side next, because I don't think that's the issue. What's that? Oh boy, that's not a good sign. I was sitting in the end of the motor there. That is a piece of metal of some sort. Hopefully not a rod bearing, which is what I think it is. Part of a rod bearing, I hope not. I hope it's something rubbing the case. Or a piece of the sprag. That's what I'm really hoping it is. This looks like it could be one of the rollers for the sprag, but we're gonna do some investigating and we shall see. Let's get cracking on this side. I'm praying this is not a rod bearing. I have had rod bearings sound like that already. I hope not. All I can do is pray to the gearhead gods at this point and hope that they're on our side. Big gingy winds like always. Give me what I want and then we will be happy. Oh man, that's what I was afraid of. That's what the oil looks like. Come on, camera, zoom in. Yeah, not good. It's full of this, like, it doesn't really look metallic, but I don't know. I don't see anything rubbing over here at all. Oh man, there's only one other thing it can be. All right, we're gonna take a look at the oil quick. That'll be our best indicator of what's going on, but the squeaking noise is still there, and I can't make this up. As soon as that's water, not oil. That's coming out of the drain bolt. So watch. Well, the oil's full of water. There's our first bad indicator. So, but it looks like somebody changed this oil, because this oil looks literally brand spanking new. So my guess is the fluids were changed in it, and the oil was looking really muddy before, and we saw a little water come out, which means it may or may not have ran, and then slightly mixed it through turning it over. Because if this thing overheated and you know this thing was getting revved really bad, and it has that smaller radiator than stock on it, so it will heat up a lot faster than a regular bike would, and it doesn't have, because it doesn't have the same cooling capacity. So if it overheated at all and you were just spinning this motor at 11,000, 10,000 RPM or whatever, then you could have very well roached the rod bearings and the head gasket at the same time, or one first and then the other one. But I don't want to make any well, I almost have to make a conclusion because there's only one other thing in the bottom end of this, and that's the balance shaft, and that's over on the left side of the flywheel here in the stator. That's the only other thing that could be causing a noise, but I can see the bearing right here, and it looks good. I don't see any issues with that bearing. So I don't think that's the issue, and that's not going to cause water in the oil. So I don't know. This is a pretty interesting situation I'm stuck in here, but here, check out the oil. So this is the oil that came out. You can see that's water right there. This was a clean pan. I wiped it out. You can see water in it. That's what all those little dots are. That's the water. Those big bubbles there, that's water. That water and oil do not mix. They will always separate. So all these little bubbles you see in the bottom, that's all water. Water always goes to the bottom of oil. So that's what that is. That's a bunch of water in the oil. That's not even a lot of oil. I don't know what these get capacity wise, but that's not a lot. That's like 3 quarts of oil. So we could be low on oil also, and that could be another issue. If this did roach a rod bearing, that potentially could be the problem. All right, boys. So I'm pretty sure at this point in the video, we've realized that this motor's roached. I'm almost 100% sure it's a bad rod bearing. So I took the liberty of setting up another trade deal, if you will. These Triumph bikes are very, very expensive. The 1050 triple is actually really expensive, and I'm hoping that's a good thing, because I really hope that's because these things have a lot of horsepower. They're really fast and nimble bikes, and that makes them popular. But we'll see, I guess, when we get this thing running. So with that being said, I lined up a deal with, I think his name was Riley in Massachusetts, and I took my ATC 200S, my 1985 ATC 200S. I found this on Marketplace. It was basically a whole bike with a title, but it was wrecked, and it's some really, really interesting damage to it over here on the cam side. There's a chunk that actually stayed attached to the frame during the accident. So I pray that the last owner and rider of this motorcycle, which wasn't Riley, I pray that they're okay, because that's a pretty significant hit for the motor to just drop out of the frame. But I'm pretty sure this motor is usable. I'm hoping this motor is usable. The deal was I traded my ATC 200S clapper 3-wheeler. It was my beater trike. It was the one I used to wheelie around the backyard. I traded that straight up for this Triumph 1050 motor. So I'm not even going to waste time with this motor trying to fix it in the frame. We're going to pull that whole entire engine out. We'll disconnect all the stuff, because there's probably going to be a lot of stuff to disconnect. So we'll just get all that disconnected, pull that whole engine out. I'll repair this broken piece over here. Welding aluminum's my specialty these days. I weld so much of it. So not a big deal. We'll get that thing welded up. We'll get her slapped back in the chassis. We'll get this thing running and ripping. Let's get it going, guys. Triumph swapped Raptor 660. Let's go. Not easy. There's 2 brackets up in the back here. The motor's kind of got to get tilted back, and then the bottom of it's going to have to get shifted forward to get past those brackets in order to slide this out. It's almost like
putting pieces of a puzzle together, or kind of like undoing the puzzle. Yeah, that's it. Undoing the puzzle. Past that. We can't do unless we take the fucking header off. No, I don't want to take the header off. Doesn't look like I'm gonna have much of a choice though, boys. Gotta take the header off. Okay, two things I wanted to talk about real fast before we get the last inch on the motor here, because this is what we needed to come off. Two things. So one, this motor definitely overheated because there's oil in the coolant. So that's telling me there's potentially a bad head gasket. That could have also been the issue with wiping the bearings. If the oil gets too hot and it's not spec'd for racing, because racing oils are much different from regular oils. Regular oil will break down much faster than a race type oil, or even if you put a race additive in the oil like an RF7, so that it holds the viscosity of the oil and it doesn't break down during intense heat, which is the same issue that diesel trucks have. When they get really hot under load, they tend to break the oil down much faster. That's why they use a little bit of a thicker oil, so it doesn't break down as fast, and then all the tolerances and everything for the bearings are all set up for that oil. Now, fortunately enough, we could have saved this had we have known this was going on, but we didn't. So it ended up in my lap like this. Obviously I can't do anything about it, but going forward I can do some things about it, and that's what I want to talk about. So I noticed the header wrap is really crunchy around certain areas of the exhaust, which is telling me this thing got super, super hot. Because even on my turbo vehicles that run 800 horsepower, they don't crispify the exhaust wrap. And so that's the one thing. I think the exhaust back pressure was causing a huge issue with this bike. The flow of this header is not great. You've got one that curves on a 90 and you've got two that just go straight in, boom, boom. And they're firing straight at this. And I can tell you from experience, because I built a header like this once on a Katana 600 swapped, a GSX 600F Suzuki engine in a Yamaha YFZ450 that I posted probably 10 years ago now. I'll send you a link right there if you guys are interested in that. It's a very old, very bad, filmed with a potato type video. So if you guys are interested in that, check it out. But I had a similar log style manifold where they just boom, 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 all four just went into a straight piece, and it did not run right. And I'm telling you, the header is a big piece. Flow, exhaust flow is extremely important. If you look at the header on this bike, they all merge together. All three go separate down to a collector where they Y-shape into each other, so the exhaust flows together. It's not competing forces, like this is going this way and this is going this way. It's in an L-shaped pattern where it's boom, boom, and they're hitting. And yeah, it will make its way out. I mean, it did run, but it can cause issues. And I think back pressure was one issue why this motor suffered a fatal fate, if you will. So let's get this motor out and get this thing back together, because I really want to ride, I'm not gonna lie. And we're gonna do something about that header. We're gonna fix that thing, so.
Darkest place, Dante's Inferno, the devil's maze. It's a good world, good world gone bad.
Wish there was a good place to grab this thing. I don't have a problem with the weight of the motor, I just have a problem with the awkward places to grab it from. One hell of a chore there, boys. But I got it. But I got it.
All right, boys, so real quick, before we get fixing the other engine and throwing it back in the Raptor, there's two things I want to do. Number one, I want to check the oil pan for debris. Now I see there was one bolt that was halfway out already, and this silicone, this red silicone, is on the pan seal. So that means somebody was definitely in here, because I guarantee you Triumph is not using red RTV on their pans. It's usually black or gray or a gasket. But anyways, one bolt was loose, silicone on it. That's a good indicator that somebody was in here. And that's the last bolt that we need to take off to crack this pan off. Oh, I see. There's more bolts. Oh, sneaky, sneaky. I didn't see these ones. Okay, now it'll come off, right? I got all those all the way down and around. Oh, and it's been welded. And down here by the drain plug, it looks like it got ripped off. There's a bunch of weld all the way down here. So this has definitely been worked on to some degree. That's a good indicator that it's definitely a rod bearing. It's not a good thing, but it's a good indicator, because if all the oil leaked out and this thing ran at all, even for seconds without oil, that's how quickly that rod bearing can throw itself. Here, I thought this was going to be like a 30-second thing. Oh, that's exactly what it is. I saw it move. All right. And here comes all the extra oil with it. Well, there's one problem. So, here, let me get you guys a close-up. There's some chunks of stuff down in here. There's one. That is not a valve guide like everybody keeps trying to say on the internet. That is a flat piece of metal. I would even, like, look, valve guides don't fall apart like that, first off. Come on, let me get a close-up. Yeah, that's pieces of bearing. Because they shave themselves, kind of, if that makes sense. And I really don't feel like pulling the whole case half off, but we can inspect kind of inside to see what might have happened. And then also, this guy kind of popped right off. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, I don't know. But there's silicone all over everything in here. I'm going to keep these pieces. There's only 3 of them. I don't see any heat, which is a good sign, but at the same time, it makes me question what's actually going on here. They're so tight. It was so tight to turn the crank over. There's no way you're going to feel looseness in the rod, because it's still squeezing it tight. That's why it's hard to turn. That's why it squeaks, because there's metal that got jammed up in between there. I really want to pull it apart, but I don't feel like spending the time on it. It's just the juice that's not worth the squeeze. I already know these are pieces of rod bearing. These are rod bearing shavings. I've seen this before. I've literally been through this before. So I'm pretty confident that this is rod bearing material. It's very thin. Very shiny, very thin. It almost looks like the coating that goes on the rod bearing. Anyways, let's get the other motor fixed. Let's get the other one put in the Raptor so we can get this thing ripping and riding. All right, guys. I'm going to take a second and show you exactly how we're going to get this welded. This is a pretty interesting process. We have to make sure this doesn't leak. And I'm worried that oil will travel through here if I don't seal up this entire thing from the outside. So oil could technically seep through here and out if I don't complete this from the top of the gasket all the way back around to the other side of the gasket. So I took both pieces. Thankfully, this was still attached to the frame. This is the piece that broke off of this corner. Let me get you guys a nice little close-up there. You know, I'll get all this blown off with air. Don't worry about the dust and all that, but this is kind of what it's going to look like, and I have to go around and weld all that. There's a nice little hole there I got to figure out how to seal up, but we got to do that. We've got to come around the face here, get in this little crevice here, and we have to go all the way up and around the back too. That's why I took the throttle bodies off, so I could get my torch head in here for the TIG. But yeah, so give me a few minutes. I'm going to get this welded up real nice, and I'll get these flush cut up top here on the valve cover, so that we need minimal sealant to seal this up. I'll get this pretty flat, and then we'll get her put back together, get her in the quad, and hopefully pray that this motor's in good shape. I think so. The oil that came out of it looks beautiful, and it does rotate fine, so yeah, let's send it. Okay, so that's my tack. That's the one that I get the tack in there. And then I'll come around this backside and hopefully be able to just... More like a... But you get the idea. That, folks, is how you weld something crazy. All right, rippers and ripettes, we got the engine, I think, pretty much fully situated. We might have to take this mount off of the other engine because this one's broken, and I just realized that now as I'm talking to you guys. But everything else is ready to go. The engine, now I'm gonna have to check that mount, but the engine is ready to go. We got the mount welded on that side. I put silicone on the weld just because in case there's any tiny pinholes. Aluminum is a very porous metal. It's very easy for pinholes to get through aluminum. So I did put some silicone around the weld itself to stop any potential oil leakage, even though I'm pretty sure I got it good. And with that being said, I went through, removed all of the emissions crap that we're not gonna be using. And I put a lot of thought around the header, and there's something that kind of made me not, well, obviously fabrication, I do a lot of it, so, but it's very time consuming, and that's why I really don't want to cut that apart just to do a couple bends. Thinking about the overheating piece of this other piece of crap motor, if that thing had an issue before, the guy that got this Raptor from, I can't remember names, I'm terrible with names, I don't know why, it's a crazy weakness of mine. I think his name was Carter. If Carter, the one who had this Raptor, you know, that may not have been his issue. That may have been something going on before he got it. I don't even know how much he rode this Raptor. I think he only rode it a couple times. It's not like even if he was out beating the balls off of it, but they had already smacked the oil pan, the previous owner welded it, you know, and ran out of oil. It already did some damage to the bearings. Then he put it in, took it out for a rip, and then didn't know, like, it could have been kind of like down on power a little bit, but some people wouldn't notice that. And then it probably could have been kind of hard running when he shut it off, and he wouldn't know because he's not an engine builder. And sometimes people just can't feel the difference. And literally in the power delivery, like you can feel when the motor's down on power. Like that's why we call it the ass dyno. But anyways, without getting into this crazy detailed scenario, that damage could have been done already, and then he just kind of added to it. But that motor trying to make power while it's running, and the bearings, the friction from those bearings wanting to seize up can absolutely kill the oil and then also kill the head gasket. And then, because that would overheat it. That type of friction is what would overheat the engine. So thinking about it, maybe the exhaust wasn't where the actual leak was from. Maybe, or sorry, not the leak, the overheating. Maybe it wasn't from the bends in the exhaust. Maybe it was from the friction from the crank, causing the engine to work that much harder, causing the engine to heat up as a result, kill the head gasket, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to take the chance and run that header, but I will watch the engine temp because I'm pretty sure that digital gauge has an engine coolant temperature indicator or gauge or something on it, because that's pretty common. So we'll keep an eye on it as we ride. If it becomes an issue, it's not that hard of a header to remove. I can take it off and fix it afterwards. So let's get this motor in. Let's get this freaking thing ripping it. Well, hopefully ripping and riding. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with this engine. And then, yeah. Oh, looks like I'm taking the fuel rail off too. Stupid plastic junk they make.
That wasn't so bad. We will be right back after this broadcast message. Alright boys, rippers and ripettes. I bring you for the first start, hopefully, fingers crossed. No microphone as usual for the first start. I would like you to hear the beautiful sound of this engine if it roars to life. There's a couple small issues I worked through. The coolant temperature sensor, this engine must have been the next generation. I think it was like 07 to 12. And then the next one was like 13 to 17 or something like that. I can't remember the exact year range, but there's two different ranges. And there's a couple minor differences between that motor and this motor, some of which you may have already heard in a voiceover. But the three things that I found were the oil pan, the oil pickup tube, the coolant temperature sensor, and the oil pressure sensor. And then there was some vacuum lines not connected and stuff like that. So I went through all of that. I think we got it. We'll give her one of these and send her down the road. Let's see what we can do here. Let me find my key switch. There's my switch. We have power. That's a good sign. Oh, we got fuel pump. Let's give her a few cranks. It does like this weird cycle thing. I don't smell fuel. Oh! We got fuel. We got fuel. Why aren't you firing up? Trusty starting fluid. That's a good sign.
I also have no idea if this gas is any good or anything. So it runs on starting fluid. Sounds cool as shit once it's running. Alright, give me a few minutes. I'm gonna have to run through, see if I have injectors backwards or something like that, because I did take a picture, but they weren't the greatest pictures. Oh my god. So it was a little weird, I don't know. And I'm gonna put this battery in the charger. You know, if they don't crank fast enough, they won't start. So give me a little bit. We're gonna get this thing charged. I'm gonna check. I see the injectors are spraying, and we know the coils are firing properly because it sounds good once it's running. So it may just be injector order or something else stupid that I'm missing. But I gotta go through, chase my wiring, see if there's any more demons in this harness. I'll be back in a sec. All right, I went through everything. I checked the coils. They are in order. I did not mess that up. I checked the injectors. I didn't mess those up. Those are good. I went through, the O2 sensor was unplugged. I plugged that in. The coolant temp sensor, I had to extend the wiring for that. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I kept looking at things. It's firing the injectors. You can literally look in the intake and see the injectors firing into the cylinders. So I know they're working. When I spray starting fluid, it fires up, but it won't run otherwise. It runs for 3 seconds and dies. I looked and looked. I checked the fuel pressure. I set that to 43. It was only a 30. I was like, oh, that's probably it. It's so low, it won't pressure. Nope, 45, 43 pounds. It still won't run. So then I checked the gas because I went back and I red bolted a post because I got to thinking. I think that wasn't a speed triple motor. I could be wrong. But what I noticed was Triumph makes a couple different engines. They make a Tiger 1050, I think a Sprint 1050, and they make the Speed Triple 1050. I don't know the year ranges. I don't know the look differences. I didn't look up any of that stuff yet. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, does that wiring harness and computer got to stay with this motor for something with a firing order difference or something between the motors that I won't be able to visually see from the outside? So I went through all of that. It still won't run. I checked the gas. I went back to the post and it said that this was sitting. It said it was built a few years ago and then sitting. So I don't know how long it was sitting, but I know gas like 87, 90, 93, 89, those are good for like 6 months. Anything after 6 months, it's most likely trash. Sometimes you get a year out of it. Race gas, you get about 1.5 years out of it. Then it's not good anymore. It winds up losing its potency, basically, is what I think happens. It evaporates the potency out of it, something like that. I don't know the science behind it, but I smelt the gas. Now, I checked the flammability of the gas. I dipped a rag in it, lit it on fire, lit right on fire. But I went online and I was like, you know, is bad gas flammable? Yeah, bad gas is flammable, but not enough under compression. So I was like, all right, I'll try changing the gas. So that's where we're at right now. I'm pretty confident. But I know that the lines and everything are full. That's got to work its way out first. So we may have to use starting fluid once or twice, get it primed with the fresh gas, and then we'll give her a Hail Mary. I hope the thing runs. Because if not, the next stage is I'm taking this whole wiring harness out, which I really don't want to do, and put that whole wiring harness and computer in, which I really don't want to do. So let's give it a shot and see what happens. Let it do its little cycle here. It's gonna beep, beep, beep. Make some funny noises. Fuel pump's running. All right. It's backfiring. I can see it backfiring. I didn't think it would work that fast. See, what happens is all of that sits in between the throttle blade and the valves, so not all of it's getting sucked in, so some of it stays in there and it might ignite. could just try swapping the computer out, but I don't know the wiring diagrams themselves between the two different, because I have both wiring diagrams and they're a little different. Can I tell you guys a quick 2-second story? I put the filters on, I sprayed starting fluid on the filters a lot, probably too much, and then when I hit the button, it literally caught them on fire. I was like, ah! Thankfully, I threw my hoodie on it and got it out, but it was pretty funny, and I didn't have the camera on. I was so mad. I was like, why didn't you put the camera on? They would love this. Dude, you're so close. What are you doing? Well, that's enough for tonight. I'll be digging back into it tomorrow, I suppose. And I thought this thing was going to be a little easier to get running, but it is not. But trials and tribulations are what make the fun even funner. Let's get it. I'm excited. I think I got it figured out. Don't mind the hair. It's really early in the morning. I came out first thing today. I was like, I'm beating this thing today. If this motor is in good condition, I am riding this thing today. Everything is here. So I came out. I took the fuel. I was like, there's a lot of fuel. There's a lot of line that goes from the tank up here and then returns back. And I'm like, it's going to take a while you're trying to just use starting fluid to get all of that old stuff out from the tank, through the filter, through the pump, through the regulator, through the injectors. I was like, it's going to take a while. Why don't I just pop the hose off, I'll flick it on, let the pump run it into a container until I see that it's clear fuel. I'll tell you what, man, there was a ton of water in the bottom of that tank. I drained the fuel out, it's sitting over there on the floor. It looked like muddy trash for like a minute straight. I was like, there's no way there was that. There must have been a bunch of stuff in the bottom of the tank or something, because I'm telling you, the stuff that came out was trash. But check it out. All right, that's a step in the right direction. She's running good now. Got my preliminary checks out of the way. Comes down to idle good. Found this guy. So that's pretty cool. Well, it was shooting flames before, but I guess that didn't want to do it anymore. But yeah, we're just about there now, so let's go for a rip, man. Okay, I had to shut my Juice WRLD stuff off for a second. I'm about to take this thing for a ride. I'm doing what I call my once over on this, okay? Now, this has me seriously questioning things, because if what's happening right now, there's no way that this thing was in running and riding condition. It may have ran, but you're not telling me that he drove this thing like this. Take a look. This hose on both sides, it's direct from the oil pressure, okay? So you've got one here, it goes through an oil cooler, and then there's another one that goes on the other side. Now, neither of these had a hose clamp on them when I took this motor out. I noticed that specifically because I was like, oh, that's just a hose barb. That should have a clamp on it of some sort. Whether it's a crimp clamp, a hose clamp, a fuel line clamp, some sort of clamp should be on this thing, especially with it being right next to the exhaust, right next to the exhaust where the flames are coming out, and this is going to expand and it's going to pop off. That side already popped off. I put a hose clamp on that one because it already popped off, as you can see, all over the tire frame. Boom. I was just here hitting the throttle, run, getting it up to temp, letting the computer do its thing, get it back down to idle, etc., etc., etc. And then I got that fixed, and then I started it back up just now, and then just a couple revs, boom, popped off, and oil started shooting out to the other side to shut it off real quick because we don't want to hurt the motor at all. But regardless, we're already fixed, running and riding. But I just wanted to point that kind of stuff out for you. Like, this is like detective investigator type shit. So anyways, give me a few minutes here. I'm going to get this buttoned up, finish my preliminary checks, and then we go ripping and riding. Oh my God. Oh man, I'm not ever doing that again. Holy shit, that's gonna be a lot to clean up. Oof, I even let off the gas as quick as possible. Oh man, this is why I normally just do it on the concrete. Oh, look at it everywhere. Oh, this is gonna take me a while. Mega sigh. All right, boys, I did everything the best way I can do on this Triumph 1050 triple speed swapped Raptor 660. I am ready to take it for a test ride. I did do some preliminary checks on her. I do think we're going to be good to go, but I don't have any confidence because I see the way this thing's built, and I don't know. We're just going to send it and see what happens, you know? Oh, wait. Oh, no, I got to tighten the chain real quick. All right, boys. Chain is tight. I'm gonna tuck this guy in here, I think, temporarily. Let's get it. Oh yeah, baby. Oh man. Oh man. Whoa! So the handlebars gotta be tightened up. Yeah, baby! Oh my God, bro! I didn't think it was gonna wheelie. I didn't think it was gonna wheelie. These things are usually way too heavy to wheelie. Oh my God, bro, that came right up. It's gotta be because of the gas tank. This thing's nasty. This is only first gear, dude. I'm barely... Yeah, right up, dude. Oh man, this thing's wild. All right, now the interesting thing about this, two things. Number one, the seat's kind of messed up because I put the battery from the YFZ 1000R on this, and so it was trimmed out for the smaller battery that was on it, but that battery was bad, so I had to use the YFZ 1000 battery, but we did manage to make it work for the rip anyways. I gotta tighten these bars down real quick. And the other thing is the gear shift pattern on this is actually backwards, which is messing with my head. I just kind of got to get used to it, I think. But it's a 1 up 5 down because most street bikes have that like reverse shifter linkage where it moves it the opposite way. But it is what it is. I can deal with that. That was the same on Vasily's quad. I normally fabricate something so that it reverses the pattern so it doesn't mess with your head, but that's just me. Everybody does it differently. Let me get these handlebars tightened down so I don't die. All right, real quick before we get back on this thing, I heard the chain slapping just a little bit, and I don't think it's an alignment issue. I think it's because that roller wasn't taken out and the carrier's almost pushed all the way back. So I think what we need to do is pull it all the way forward, take that out, probably remove a link, put it back on, and then that'll be good, because that is in a good alignment with the sprocket. Like, but this really shouldn't be up first before it goes down. It should just be a straight line, and the rollers kind of should be guiding the chain. It shouldn't really be pushing up on it like that one is. So that could be part of the issue for the clicking, but we're gonna leave it go for the test ride. If it becomes a problem, then I'll deal with it. Let's get this thing out there and do some ripping, man. This thing's a freaking animal. Sketchy animal, but definitely an animal. Freaking fast, man. Yeah, oh my God, it wheelies. It's like wheeling a Cadillac, if I'm being honest with you. I think I'll get on the flat just a little bit more. I love the way it sounds. It's very unique. Yeah, because now I can wheelie. Now I can wheelie. No leaks, looking good, looking good. I am happy. Oh, I see a little dripper. I bet that's fuel system off the edge of the regulator. No? Where the hell is that coming from right here? You guys can see that, but it's like, oh God, is that battery acid? No, it's right here. See, this is what I'm talking about. There's no way that this was ran. Look at how loose that is right there. Can you guys see that? Look at that. I could pull this pump out right now. You're telling me this thing ran and didn't have any issues? These upper clamps were not tight on the original motor. That one was split down there, so there was no way that I don't believe that this thing actually ran. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. And it doesn't look like there was any attempt made on taking this apart. So give me one more second, and I'm gonna take my unhappy ass in, get a flathead screwdriver, fix that, and then return to make myself happy by doing some Cadillac wheelies. Let's get it. Oh my God, that was the title pick right there. Yeah, baby. I don't think she's gonna do a donut, but we can try. Brakes work, thank God. Woo! This thing's a handful. This thing is a handful, and I love it. Dude, barely touched the gas. This thing's wild, man. Woo! That's only first gear. I wonder if the mile per hour is accurate on this. It is hooked up to the speed sensor in the transmission. Watching my lights carefully, driving through my burn pile. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh yeah. It doesn't stop on a dime. It does stop fast, but not fast enough. Not as fast as I like to go. Oh my God, bro. That was like 60% throttle. Dude, I love it already. Gotta keep an eye for leaks. I hear noises. Oh, we're okay. I think. Just residual. Temperature looks good. But it sounds weird. I don't know, I get worried too easily, guys. I put a lot of man hours into this thing, and I really just don't want to kill it the very first time I touch it, you know what I mean? So I'm just paying attention to what, yeah, see, it's just getting up to temp because it's now burning the residual coolant and stuff off of the exhaust. But I hear something. I don't know what it is, but oh well, as long as it ain't on fire. Wow, I almost went off that one. Oh my god! Yo! Okay, I better stop. Listen, we're gonna fix a couple things on this. In the next video with this, we'll fix a couple things on it. We're gonna put a new header on it, or at least fix that one. And a couple other little things I want to do to it. And then we're gonna take it out on the road in Mexico. We'll do a top speed run on it, and we'll see. Not an actual top speed, because I think this thing's gonna do every bit of a $140, $150. But yeah, guys, as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, give me that like, share, subscribe, help support the channel. Check out the Shopify store. Quads like this will be listed in the Shopify store. Obviously, this plastic will be fixed. I just tossed it on for the video, but merch coming soon, and Raptor is in progress. I will talk to you guys about that in the next video. YZ1000 just waiting on plastics. Love this thing.